Movies like Ocean's 8 have set our expectations for robberies very high. Fortunately, not all robbers are smart like that. In fact, most robberies only go successfully because they're able to scare people, not because they actually have skill. Some of these robbers didn't really mess up, but they also managed to get caught on camera. Here are some of those stories. Serial robbers usually come up with a foolproof plan to continue with their crimes. Unfortunately, this robber didn't think his plan through and just copied a dumb trick from the movies. Every so often, he would come in with a duffel bag, stuff it with snacks, and then leave. Later on, he would come to the same store, just in a different outfit, and repeat. This went on for weeks until the owner finally decided to do something about it. The owner let him go about his business, but this time he locked the door with a button he got installed. This is where he starts to freak out and sprint towards the locked door with full force. When his attempts go unfruitful, he leaves the bag of stolen goods behind and tries again, this time managing to break the plexiglass. The owner thought he had run away for good, but a few days later, he got a call from him. The poor thief wanted to sincerely apologize for his behavior. In fact, he even worked for the man for 10 hours straight to make up for it. The man told the owner that he had been going to rehab and trying to fix his ways. A little compassion goes a long way. We've all seen that one scene from Friends where Joey wears all of his friends' clothes just to annoy them. This woman took that scene too literally and applied the same logic to shoplifting. A store in Venezuela was selling some exceptionally good jeans that this woman happened to love. Her plan was to take about the right pair of jeans to the trial room and wear them all in one go. She thought she could fool the security guards, but walking in so many pairs of jeans wasn't going to be easy. When the security guard notices something weird, he makes the woman take all of them off one by one. Now this is something that would make a good icebreaker at parties. The next story isn't as heartwarming, but it will have you giggling over how silly it is. A middle-aged man walked into an e-cigarette shop without the proper robber attire, which means he wasn't wearing a face cover at all. At first glance, he looked like a regular customer, but as he approached the counter, he tried to grab his BB gun from his pocket. However, these butterfingers managed to not only drop the gun, but also drop it to the other side of the counter. This obviously startled the employee a little bit, but the robber was more frightened than she was. In fact, he even tries to retrieve his gun by bending down. But that goes horribly, so he gives up. Unfortunately, it seems like he also left his belt back there on his way out, because his pants started to fall down. He might not have gotten caught, but having this video go viral is punishment enough. People might not realize this, but even robbing takes a lot of skill. Something these guys are definitely lacking. Two guys decided to rob a store in Shanghai, China. The first problem they had to deal with was actually getting into the store. Both of them picked up bricks to break the door open. When one of them threw the first brick, it did nothing but bounce right back at them. The next brick does much more damage. The second guy's aim was so bad that it hit his literal partner in crime right in the face when he threw the brick. It knocked him out cold, and the other guy completely forgot about the robbery. Instead, he was more worried about his knocked out friend and started to drag him towards their car. If your friends wouldn't do this for you, you need better. Perhaps robber friends. Moving on to the next robbery, which is barely even a robbery. When it comes to stealing, the biggest factor is fear. It doesn't matter what weapon you have in hand, the cashier needs to be scared. However, it seems like this store clerk has a heart of steel. A man walked into a grocery store with the whole thief look and even a gun. Except none of this even slightly bothered the cashier, who went on about his business. He completely ignored the man in the mask, and even extended his arm to give a customer their groceries. Even the customer himself ignored the would-be criminal, as if it were nothing. The man eventually left because the shop owners just refused to be robbed. Armed robbers are more of a danger to themselves than they are to others. This armed robber in Argentina walked into a pharmacy in hopes of robbing it. The man clearly didn't seem too familiar with the weapon, but that became awfully clear when he tried to keep the gun back in his pocket and accidentally shot himself in the groin. He manages to get to his motorbike and only drives about 2 blocks. Later on, he collapses on the road in a pool of his own blood. Even though the police take him to the hospital, he doesn't pass away just 2 hours after the incident. Let's move on to a story starting with Dong Ying, a man who tries to unsuccessfully rob an ATM. Before he could even get some cash out of the ATM, the alarm went off and the system started to make all sorts of warning sounds. This inevitably made the unexpected robber very scared and panicky. He couldn't figure out where the sound was coming from. Better yet, he couldn't even figure out how to open the door that he himself locked. His first instinct was to take off the lid of the dustbin and bang it on the ATM screen. The poor man was eventually caught due to his very unplanned and unprepared project. Some criminals are just careless and dumb, while others are just out of luck. And this guy had to deal with the latter. This thief had his whole plan going well, except for the end. He had managed to steal a scooter from a warehouse and even got the scooter out. But when he was about to exit through an automatic metal door, his foot got stuck. Since the door was automatic, there wasn't much he could do. He had no choice but to call the police himself so they could help him out and eventually arrest him. That's why you need a partner in crime to help you in situations like this. This robber walked into the bank with so much confidence, only to get his plan ruined by none other than a regular civilian. The poor man was just here to pay his bill, but had to deal with a bank robber first. James Rowley, the kind-hearted citizen, was already in a bad mood the other day when a masked man popped in with a gun. Right off the bat, James could tell his gun was fake. He did not want his mood to worsen, so he just asked the robber to leave. The robber knew he'd been caught, so he simply ran out the exit. But James wouldn't let him get away, so he chased the robber until the police got there. Despite his bad mood, the man did all that, and that's why he was rewarded 1,200 pounds for his bravery. Can you believe this man is only a window cleaner? Could he secretly be a vigilante? That's all we have for today. Now, comment below which of these robbery stories made you laugh the most, and tell us about your own experiences. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to TRENDJOINT, and hit that bell icon for more. See you in the next one.